This is The Real Deal with Doug and Steve, the television show that highlights the investments and projects being undertaken in Belize. It also recognizes those in the private sector with the courage to pursue their business dream. The Real Deal is Belize's #1 business show. Here's Doug Singh and Steve Duncan.
Good evening and welcome to The Real Deal, where we provide information to you, the general public, the listening audience, the viewing audience, on projects, activities, developments taking place within our country. I want to thank you for joining us. And tonight, more than any other night, I need to ask you to remain with us and keep my company. You will notice and you will recognize that I am flying solo tonight. And so I am your host, Stephen Duncan. And my co-host, unfortunately, had to be out of the country. So I must ask you to bear with me and spend this time with me, share with me, and listen to what we have to offer tonight. Just to get some housekeeping out of the way, let me say to you that for those with Facebook, you can like us, The Real Deal Belize, and email, you can communicate with us at therealdealbelize@gmail.com. Also, you may stream live on www.belizeweb.com by clicking on Wave Radio. The show is repeated on Sundays, and you can catch it on Wave TV at 11 a.m. and on Sundays on Channel 7 at 5 p.m. As usual, we try to provide you with information on projects, and tonight is no different. We want to talk about a new project to take place in our country, one that we think is very important. You would have heard a couple of weeks ago that the energy policy for the country was launched, and today we have a sort of, you may want to call it a spin-off from that we'd like to discuss. So stay with us. We will be right back to discuss that. We will take a short break at this time.
This UDP administration believes in a government that works with the people, because together as one, we can achieve great things. As long as we are joined in common purpose, our journey moves forward and our future is hopeful. One people, one government, one Belize. This UDP administration believes in a government.
The Department of Transport hereby advises the commuting public, bus operators, drivers, and conductors that it is unlawful for buses to be operated with more passengers than the seating capacity and license allows. The public is also advised that the road service permit requires bus owners to provide a backup bus if there are more persons waiting at the terminal or at designated bus stops.
The Department of Transport will soon embark on a campaign to vigorously enforce the no-standing law, and persons who get on a bus that already has its lawful capacity of passengers will be taken off at checkpoints. Bus operators, drivers, and conductors will be dealt with according to the law. Persons who travel as standees are also breaking the law and are liable as well.
The Department of Transport enforcement personnel cannot break the law themselves by allowing an overcrowded bus to continue on its way. The cooperation of the commuting public is hereby requested in order to avoid expense and inconvenience. Let's all obey the law and bring good order into the bus transit system. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Transport.
Travelers Liquor's always there. Have some fun, please your taste buds with a gold award-winning one-barrel rum. Try and liquor, you decide, or the refined cashew wine. Travelers
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with me, and thank you for watching the show and listening for those of you on radio. As I said before we went to break, tonight we want to talk about a project dealing with energy. The energy policy was just launched a couple of weeks ago, and today there was a forum on energy. And so tonight we have as our guests two gentlemen in that area, as well as a lady from the Bell Trade. And she should be no stranger to you. Was it last week you were here?
Just last week.
Just last week, excellent. You're becoming a regular. So maybe we can start by introducing Norika Gamero, and you're the Business Development Officer at Bell Trade.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We also have Mr. Frick de Meyer,
Yes.
and you're a director with Belize Wind Energy.
Yes, indeed.
That is correct. And to my immediate left is Mr. Boris Mansfeld,
Yep,
who is also a director at Belize Wind Energy.
that's correct, yes.
Thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I think the best way to start is to just let the public understand what it is we're going to talk about. We will be talking about wind energy. Is that a proper description?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Tell us what is wind energy in a nutshell, where we can kick this thing off.
Wind energy is the production of electricity through wind. So
Yes.
there's going to be wind turbines, windmills,
Yes.
that going to produce power.
Yeah.
We are not talking about small project. We're not talking about small individual wind turbines to facilitate one house or one hotel or one site. We're
Yes.
talking about big production to supply Belize with the needed power there at this moment.
Yes. And when you say to supply Belize, you're considering what? Replacing Belize Electricity Limited, the BEL, or what are you thinking?
No.
What do you have in mind?
Certainly not.
Certainly not.
No, BL is at this moment. BL is the transporter of the power.
Good.
And so BL buys the power from producers
Good.
and sells it to the public. And they have a shortage of suppliers. I mean, at this moment, there's the hydro dams, there's some biomass production,
Yeah.
but there's not enough production in Belize, so they have to buy it abroad.
We're getting from Mexico, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly one of the causes of the high prices from the power rates, that has been all over the news and lately, that the prices keep going up. And so we will try to find a solution for that. And we have a big investment in place that we want to do, is building a large-scale wind farm to replace the power that is currently imported from Mexico.
So you're thinking then, Boris, is that with this wind farm, we would be able to get the cost of producing electricity lower than where it is today?
Well, that's our plan, yes. I think right now we have approval to do a feasibility study. And I think that's a very important point to make, is that right now we're studying the wind options in Belize, the grid system, the infrastructure. We're trying to get a very good understanding of where the wind is located and if this project is feasible.
Yes.
We definitely believe it is feasible. And so right now we're going to be doing our feasibility study. And if we get positive results, we hope to produce wind via a wind farm.
Okay, electricity via a wind farm.
Right,
Yes.
and that electricity will be renewable energy. And at the forum today, we discussed renewable sources of power for Belize. There's hydropower. There's also biomass that they're doing at the Belcogen plant up near the northern border.
Yes.
And then there's also
Solar.
possibly solar in the future, and then hopefully wind power from us.
Yeah. Maybe while we're talking, we can have our audience at home see what we're talking about, what we're going
great.
to talk about, this wind,
Yes.
this wind energy. We can put something up on the screen. So I'd like them to cue up the first image, the first set of images, so that the public can see what is happening. Can you describe to us here what we are seeing?
Yeah, these are some wind turbines that are operating in Europe. We have a partner company that has joined our team, and it is a very successful and experienced wind energy investment firm in Europe, in Belgium in particular, and they have produced and developed and engineered a variety of wind energy projects throughout Europe as well as in Africa.
Okay.
And these are some of the examples of some of the projects that they have worked on.
Okay.
And these are very high-tech wind turbines that produce anywhere from 1.5 to up to 7 megawatts of power.
1.5 to 7.
Yeah, and they're very sophisticated, as you can see on the TV right there.
And so the feasibility study must help us determine what kind of technology, because there's different technologies, there's different sizes. We also have specific weather conditions, you know. The wind farms can be built in areas where they have snowstorms. They have been places where it's freezing. Here we're, for example, in a hurricane belt area. So these are all things that this company, or that we're gonna, and our whole team is going to investigate. And then see what kind of turbines would be the best solution. Also depending on the wind trends.
This is that the grid? Is that connected to a grid there or something?
Yeah, that's correct. That's a high energy grid there. Belize already has a pretty sophisticated grid, but part of our feasibility study is going to be to analyze the grid and make sure the system is adequate to transport the amount of energy that we're looking to produce.
Okay.
And we may have to upgrade the grid and invest a considerable amount of money in order to expand the grid.
Yeah, so that's all part of the study that we're doing right now, because if you're gonna put down several of these large wind turbines, we really have to see that the grid that is existing can really handle it as well. Another part that's very important for a wind farm is that it's a very specific kind of producer. You cannot really control it like a hydro dam, right? The hydro dam, they have a lot more control on, you know, we're going to produce more and we're going to produce less. While we are 100% depending on if the wind blows or it's not blowing. So therefore, you know, that's all things that have to be investigated to see where do we go with the power at the moment that we have overproduction, because you could have, for example, really hard winds in the middle of the night when nobody is using the power. And at this moment, there's no decent solution in the world to store that electricity.
Wind, or the electricity.
So that are all things that we're investigating right now, you know. Partially solutions will be to cooperate with neighboring countries, you know, who have a bigger grid, a bigger network. So when we have like overproduction, that the power can go in their network, and where we have a shortage on power that we can take back, but becoming a net positive producer.
And exporter.
And exporter. So
that's
eventually,
a long-term goal.
Long-term goal.
What I liked about this project was the phases in which it was going to be implemented. You know, phase 1 is the feasibility study, determine if it's even possible to be able to compete with the rates that they're looking in Belize. You know, determine if the grid can be expanded, where it can be expanded, find the wind study energy in the best suitable location, which requires money, and this is a private investment. I think, you know, the initial feasibility study is about $1 million. Overall, they're looking to invest over $200 million. And then, you know, the long-term projection of the second and third phase is the export. So what I definitely liked was that they are willing to take that expense and that risk and do the feasibility study for Belize. And it's something that, like you said, it goes with the strategy plan for the Ministry of Energy.
So this fits into what our strategy for Belize is, Narika, yes?
Yes, I mean, anything that's renewable energy, of course, is something that we want to promote, and it's stipulated wind is one of the ones under the strategy plan that we want to do.
Yes.
Like they say, the consistency of wind, because it can't be stored, is maybe one of the debatable parts of it, but they can partner up with someone else and do solar, a combination to upside when there's no wind. But all of that will be determined during this feasibility study. Absolutely.
Yeah, wind can definitely not be the only way to produce power for a country, because there's not always wind.
Yes.
So it's part of the whole mix, and I think Belize is blessed with the situation right now that it has the possibility to implement several ways. I mean, not every country has rivers and mountains to implement hydro.
The different types of energy that we can do.
Yes,
I see
exactly.
What you mean.
Not all the countries have enough agricultural production to implement the biomass facilities.
Yes.
And so here I think we have a very, very nice mixture.
Effectively, you're suggesting that using the various components, whether it is the biomass, the agricultural component, whether it is the hydro, which is the water component, the fossil fuel that we do already,